right. Well, today it's a little different, keeping it real today. I've got a gentleman that was introduced to me by one of our amazing managers, Mrs. Jenny Abney. So, yes, Jenny, I'm giving you a shout out on this. And his name is John Reyes. And John Reyes recently wrote a book called 21 Strategies. 21 Strategies. And while I have not had the opportunity to read the book just yet, he did have some time in his schedule and I didn't want to miss it. So I wanted to grab the time with John and share just a few questions that I think you may have for him and a few questions that I have for him. We'll talk about 21 Strategies and really what John does. So without further ado, John, welcome to Keeping It Real.
Troy, the pleasure is mine. Thank you very much. I really appreciate just having the platform to speak with you today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm so glad we got connected. John, like I said, I've thumbed through this book a little bit, and I had some other questions outside of the book a little bit that I think a lot of our agents would love to know. And first and foremost, John, what is the most common problem that you found in real estate, and how does your 21 strategies help solve that one common problem?
I think the biggest problem that I've come across is that I've found so many real estate agents that have the right intent. They have the vision and the goal in mind as to what they want to accomplish. But so many just are not lucky enough to get connected with the right brokerage, the right leadership, and be put on the right track for success. And so the goal of 21 Strategies, the problem that we wanted to solve was this. I have so many amazing relationships with real estate professionals nationwide. And I
Mhm.
felt, what if I was able to just take some of their key takeaways and provide them to real estate agents to say, this is amongst one of the greatest industries to be a part of. And it's just about finding your rhythm, finding the plan, and being able to execute. And I feel that that's what 21 Strategies does, is that it really opens up the door of opportunity for real estate agents to say, there's a lot of roads that lead to success. We just need to make sure that we find ours. And I feel like 21 Strategies helps do that, helps bridge the gap and connect the dots.
That's great, John. And in regards to that, what were your largest takeaways when you were interviewing the leaders? Because when you were writing your book, you interviewed 21 different leaders in the industry. And in that, what are the three things that shocked and inspired you to make a change?
So I would say number one is consistency, no matter what, who I'm speaking to. And I'm talking about these are pillars in our industry, people that have built amazing companies and not just financially, but also rewarding for their own personal lifestyle. And so that's the one key takeaway is that you have somebody who's built a business just by consistently dropping off flyers and being a part of the community each and every day. It's something religiously that he does and he's been about. So he was able to take his successful business mantra, leave to an entirely new market, and repeat the process. And now he's tremendously successful. So I would say number one is consistency. And then number two is routine, not so much as it is consistency, but having a routine to start your day off the right way. And I believe a big part of that is just priming your mind, making sure that you're in the right frame of mind. And there's different ways to do that. We had different real estate brokers and agents that we interviewed that had said for some of them, it's about writing their goals down each and every day. For another, it's just about the time to meditate and to realize and take into consideration what am I grateful for, but at the same time to make sure that he could hit the ground running each and every day. And then I think the third part is just about if you want it bad enough to make sure that you don't give up. Because there are stories that are shared where people who either A, built a great fortune and then lost it all. Or one of
Mhm.
my favorite stories is from a broker whose resiliency is just second to none, having had built a great company. I'm talking about a pillar in Southern California real estate. Everybody knows the name, everybody knows the brand, and then all of a sudden getting a phone call from the doctor saying, "Hey, I don't have good news. Stage 4 cancer diagnosis." Like that's just jaw-dropping shocking. And so I think a big part of it is just resiliency across the board, a certain commitment that is really hard to sometimes find on our own, but if we could just be influenced by others who've already been down that route, I'm hoping just to make it a little easier.
Yeah, John, you hit on all those are key, and they're key things that we lean into in our organization quite a bit. Routine, obviously, and our CEO at Home Service of America, Gino Blafari, is a master of routine and consistency. He's got a specific routine he does every single morning, from writing his gratitudes down to the task for the day, to every little thing, making sure his calendar is in alignment with his goals at the same time too. And again, you got to be consistent with it in order for it to start making a difference and creating the impact in your life and in your business. So, but most, I think you said it best. And then lastly, it's just that resilience. You've got to be, you got to have some thick skin at times, because every day is a new day, and not every day is a great day, but there's opportunities to learn in each one of those days too. So,
That's right.
what advice would you give our real estate professionals, as we've now entered into 2025? We're partially through the year already, and what's the one thing that you feel that every agent must do to grow their business and increase their success?
For me, it's pretty straightforward. Don't be like Blockbuster. Blockbuster was a company at a time that dominated the market when it came to video rentals. I mean, in fact, the majority of all of your real estate agents, I'm sure, had a Blockbuster card in their pocket at one time. And so
Yeah.
it was a company that had over 6,000 stores nationwide, generating over $6 billion a year in revenue. And they weren't one of the best, they were the best. And they had an opportunity to buy a company called Netflix, a company that they said, hey, listen, we believe the foresight is going to be that people are going to want to stream videos, stream content right on their digital device. Why don't you buy us? You handle the stores, we'll handle the online, and Blockbuster can be an amazing company. There's an article that's published in the Inc. magazine, and the CEO, Reed Hastings of Netflix, talks about the CEO of Blockbuster while they're sitting there talking about being acquired, that he puts his hand over his mouth and he's doing something funny with his hands in his face. And then Reed Hastings says, I realize what he's doing. He's trying to hold himself back from laughing at us, laughing at the price that we asked for. Fast forward, Blockbuster filed bankruptcy, and now Netflix is worth approximately $350 billion. The real estate community had an opportunity to go on out and jump ahead of the curve, leverage video in order to build their brand, build their business in their local markets. So many real estate agents knew that video was going to be something that was going to be popular because they were watching videos on YouTube, but yet they didn't do it for whatever reason. And so
Mhm.
now we have this advancement of AI. My point to the real estate community is you got to keep your ear low to the ground, be willing to evolve. Don't get stuck in just your ways of doing things, because it's not that old school ways don't work. I still do a lot of things that people are considered old school, but it's just human nature. Our clients, people across the world, we've become more digitally connected to our digital device. So it only makes sense that as a real estate community, we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves where people are looking the most. If we want to
Yeah.
influence our clientele, then let's leverage the tools and resources that you already have paid for, because everybody watching this probably has a smartphone. You might even be watching this on your smartphone or your iPad, your digital device. So that would be my advice, is that we need to take our head out of the sand and look at the consumer and understand if this is what they want, then this is what I'm going to provide. And I assure you, it will make your life so much easier.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you. And you're right about video back in the day, and those that adopted to video early on did extremely well, and they grew their teams and they grew their companies and their brokerages, and I would say many still are resistant to doing video. I have conversations still, I mean, daily almost, about video and doing more of it and how to be effective with it as well. And with AI, there's an absolute opportunity to use AI responsibly to do this as well. And that's something our organization specifically is working on. I can't announce it today, but soon enough, I will be announcing it to the company. Some different things that we're going to be doing as we're leaning in more and more with AI as well. So, John, lastly, if you were teaching your son or your daughter to become a real estate professional, how would that journey look in 1 year to 5 years? What is the path that you would lay out for them? Obviously, you're going to have consistency in there, you're going to have resilience in there, you're going to have routine in there, but what does that look like, and how could you help them ramp up faster than most real estate professionals?
The first thing I would say is this, is that they have to understand and appreciate patience. Nothing that we want in life, for the most part, is going to come quickly and come easily if we have to work for it. So I would really ingrain patience. And number two, discipline, is that sometimes it's going to take the discipline for us to be able to put in the time and the efforts to get better and to really hone in our craft. But with those 2 points being the foundation, then for me, I've seen real estate agents get into the business, and within the first year, within the first 2 to 3 years, they're doing much greater than somebody who's been in the business for 10 years or even 20 years. So for me, it's not so much a time frame as it is in the industry, as much as it is having the proper foundation. Because Troy, I think you would agree, for any professional like yourself and or like myself, we could pick up and enter into a new industry, and there are certain habits and certain disciplines that if we just now apply it into this new venture, we're going to
Mhm.
be successful. So I would say patient and discipline, and then once you have that as a cornerstone, then it's just a matter of setting up a structured plan, and then making sure that you execute it from there. But I would definitely emphasize and reinforce leverage video marketing, learn how to communicate well, communicate effectively, be more cognizant when you're speaking of the elongated ums and ahs when you're talking to your clients. I do believe that people want to work with professionals. Therefore, we should do what we need to do in order to sound like a professional. And then lastly, we need to be knowledgeable. When I'm speaking to a client, I'm never telling them that I know where the market's going. In fact, I say anybody who tells you that they know where the market's going, run from the hills, because in all reality, if they knew where the market was going, they probably wouldn't be selling real estate, right? We can't say for certain where the market's going. Now, what we could do is to say, based off the information that I have, here's what I think and here's why I think this. But that's different than being
Mhm.
so definitive in our process. But that has helped me tremendously. If I'm speaking to clients, I will have clients tell me, talking to you, it's a little bit different than other real estate agents, or I've learned more from you in the last 5 minutes than I learned with this other real estate agent I've been working with for the last X amount of months. So I think collectively, if we just put those pieces of the puzzle together, now it's life changing, because I think we all, as real estate professionals, we want to achieve a certain breakthrough. You want to go on a new vacation, you want to build that ADU in the back, you want to buy a second home, set your target, set your financial goal, but then it's a matter of flipping the switch. Can I now apply my activities to go on out and to get the return that I want? So a little bit of a long-winded answer, Troy, but collectively
Oh,
that's solid foundation for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, all the same.
yeah. And John, here's something we talk a lot about in our company is, as a real estate professional, if you really boil it down, you got two jobs. Two jobs. One is prospecting, and the second one is serving your client. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. And I'll add one thing to that to help be successful in both of those, and you hit on it just briefly, is communication. The best way to find if you're communicating effectively is by the response that you receive. So if you're not getting the response that you would like to be getting, there's tweaks that need to be made in the communication or how something is asked. And something you also said, John, right at the end was, be cautious. We don't know exactly where the market's going. We can speculate, but we also need to be very, very careful. We can show facts and figures as to what has happened and what has occurred, which helps our sales professionals and our real estate executives become the expert in their field. Where we need to be cautious and use discipline is, look, we don't know where the market's going. I think the market will be here. I think this could happen. And let me tell you what happens if either of these two things occur. This happens with your payment. This happens with the price of your home, whatever that may be. But I always say over communicate in your communications, because when you do that, you have a lot less questions and a lot less surprises. And it sounds like you talk a lot about that same thing. But John, I'll tell you, I know I showed the book once. I'm going to show it again. 21 Strategies. I'm excited to get through it. I just started it the other day, and I was thumbing through it. And again, there was key things in there that I just love to see. The freedom and flexibility, crafting your life by design. And it's, by the way, it's really, I like how you laid it out too. It's just in short form. You've got multiple pieces nonstop. So if there's a piece in here that you don't really want to get into deeper, you don't have to. You can just jump right over, not even flip the page, and you're there. So, John, I'm excited. Thank you for a copy of your book, by the way. I'm so happy that Jenny got us connected. And if you have any questions for John, we'll put his contact information. It'll come up right after we end this video. So please feel free to reach out to John as well. He's a great guy. He's quite the gentleman, and he's got a lot of great stuff to share with all of us. So, John, any final words prior to closing?
I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to chat with you. It's very exciting when I received the email from you in the first place. And yes, Jenny's been a very dear friend. I've been connected with her for probably 15 years. One of my longest relationships in the real estate industry, which is really cool because we're just so local. And the last thing is that what's cool too about this book is that if you really like the story from the speaker, you could always just scan the QR code as well, and then that takes you directly to be able to watch the full interview that I did with the prospect. So some stories will resonate more than others, and I think that's just another way of us leveraging tech on our end, just to be
Mhm.
able to share the real raw emotions from the people that I interviewed. But thank you very much for the chance to speak with you, Troy, and excited about just all the cool things that we could potentially do in the future.
Awesome. Well, pleasure's all ours. Thank you so much, John. Have a great, great week ahead, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. John's contact information will be up next. Thanks so much.